Welcome back to Morning Line, everyone. Nick Barris. We're talking this morning, as you see on the screen there. Yes, Social Security. The number 737-7587. Josh Horn here is going to answer your questions. Let's get back to the phone lines. What do you say, Josh? We'll go next to Paul. Good morning. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Nick, my friend. How you doing?
Good. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, buddy, I'm doing good. This call is not necessarily about me, Nick. Well, it ain't. It's about my good friend, James Jones, down in Chattanooga. His name is James Jones. He's more like a brother to me, Nick. I used to work with him. He, for the last 2 or 3 years, Nick, has had severe back problems. He's had operations. He just can't get straight on his back, about his back. He's worked hard his whole life, Nick, and now he just can't work anymore, Nick. He can't hardly get out of bed sometimes in the morning, brother, and he's applied for Social Security disability, and he has been rejected a couple of times. He's in Chattanooga now. He is actually on hold and wants to call and talk to the gentleman if he can give him any advice as far as maybe trying to get his Social Security disability. Nick, my friend, my good friend James Jones, he needs his disability. He's in a bad shape, and he's on hold now because, you know, News Channel 5 coverage is not in Chattanooga, and he's fixing to call in, and I was see if y'all could give him any advice because he really needs help, Nick, and that's my call, buddy. I thank you.
Okay, have him listen in here, and we'll see what kind of advice Josh wants to give him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. One is, and it sounds like he's already done this, but make sure that he follows up on his appeals. If you're denied at the initial level, you have 60 days to appeal to the reconsideration level, and then after that, another 60 days. If you're denied at the reconsideration level, another 60 days to file to see a judge at the hearing level, and a lot of folks are approved at the hearings level. The other thing that I always like to mention with back, because back issues can be a little bit more tricky with their severity, but I always like to tell folks, list everything that's bothering you, or list everything that's limiting you from work, because sometimes people think, well, I have back problems and that's why I can't work, but they forget to mention, well, I also have diabetes, which affects it, or I've got some other kind of condition that heart problems or something along those lines, and they don't list those things. But sometimes back issues alone won't cause it, but then the combination of the different things that you struggle with will put you over the limit as far as what they can approve. And the last thing that I'll mention too, with back problems in particular, they like to send you for a consultative examination. And I don't know if your friend did this or not, but some folks forget or don't, for whatever reason, don't go to the consultative examination. What that means is the disability office will set you up with a doctor that they'll pay for, but that they want to give you an examination, and folks will not go to that, and then it's just kind of an automatic denial at that point because they don't have enough evidence. And I know, and I say that in particular because back situations, a lot of times they like to send you up for a consultative examination there. I don't know if I hope that one of those things that I mentioned helps, because I know that back problems can be severely debilitating.
And back problems, depending on the severity, certainly that alone can be enough to get you disability.
Yes.
If it reaches that threshold. And I don't know, he didn't say if his friend, and I always like to throw this out there, if you've gone through the process and have not had success, but you still believe you deserve the benefit, maybe if you've done it on your own, consider a lawyer.
Yeah.
And just like to hit this out every show, just to remind you, you're like, well, Nick, I can't hire a lawyer. I have no money. Again, lawyers will take it, and there's a lot of them that specialize in Social Security on contingency. What % do they get?
Yeah, basically they get the lesser of 25% or $6,000 of your back pay. So if it takes you a couple years to get approved, whatever you're owed for that 2 years, because we protect you all the way back to when you first contacted us, they'll take their payment out of that. And then if you don't get approved, then they won't take anything. They're not doing anything. And
I'm not necessarily advocating one way or the other for a lawyer, but if you've tried everything, it's worth a shot there. They get a percentage of your money at that point, but maybe they'll see something that you weren't doing, and it'll help you get your benefit. That's an option, but you certainly can apply on your own as well. Let's go to Rita. Hi, Rita.
Hi.
Hey, how can we help you, Rita?
I have a question, please. If someone has a hereditary disease or someone has HIV, why do they qualify for a check of Social Security, and the person with the hereditary disease might not qualify? Why is that?
Well, probably the best answer I can give you is that whether it's a hereditary condition or disease, HIV, or any other situation out there, it all has to do with how it affects your ability to work. Social Security is a disability program. The definition of disability is that it has to be 100% disability and completely prevent you from working, and it has to be expected to last for a year or longer. That's just the basic definition. And so some folks with conditions that are very serious conditions find a way to work.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I'm not sure I understand the basis of her question, because I'm guessing here, but I mean, just having HIV doesn't qualify you for, I mean, there's plenty of people out there working and doing just fine with HIV. So if you don't get Social Security benefit. If you start getting full-blown AIDS and some of the conditions that come with it, I could see then how you would qualify. And if you have some kind of genetic disorder, the bottom line is, we don't care what the heck causes it. If you are fully disabled, you qualify for Social Security. Whether it's hereditary, HIV, you fell down some stairs, any of that, right?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's exactly right. So it's just all kind of a matter of how it affects your ability to work.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to James. James, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, James. How can we help you?
Well, I was calling in my, like I said, I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. My friend Paul actually.
Oh, that was you. Okay, James. You heard some of what he said. Do you have a lawyer, or how many times have you been denied?
Well, actually, I've been denied a total of 3 times, and I had to go through the process and reapply for the case over again. So this is actually my 4th time actually applying. So I've been through the process and been through a total of 3 appeals. Then now this is my time reapplying again. And so I had to reapply for it, and so basically I lost all the back pay on the first time because I had applied for it like 3 years ago, and then I had to restart the case completely over. And initially I had back surgery in 2012, and I had a total of 3 back surgeries, and I had I had a back fusion, spinal cord stimulator placed in my back, and I had where they try to realign the disc in my back, and I was in a car accident. And,
so James, so in a nutshell, I mean, you just hurt too much to work. What did you do for a job?
I worked in the corrections field. I was a supervisor in corrections. I worked in corrections for the past 15 years.
And you can't stand up anymore, really? It's just there's no way, right?
I can stand, but I can't stand and walk for a very long period of time, and it hurts to sit in periods of time and stand for periods of time.
Did they say why they denied you those first 2 times?
The first 2 times, they said that, I think the first 2 times they said that on the very first 2 times, I believe that I got denied for. They said that I can actually. They said that I think they said that I can work for it with my hands and feet or something like that. They said I can move around or something like that.
So they didn't feel that you were 100% disabled. Do you have a lawyer?
At that time, I did have an attorney, and it was an out-of-town attorney. And then what happened was they sent my case to a out-of-town judge, and I had a video conference in New York when I had that hearing. And so that judge didn't know anything about that video conference with that judge out of town. And so I think that's why I kind of messed up at. I didn't get a local attorney in my state where I live at.
So, okay, and you're in Tennessee, of course, now. All right. Yeah, I've heard people in similar situations. You hear it and you think, well, why the denial? And I'm wondering almost here that it's not so much his condition, but maybe the process, like he said, things haven't gone right. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, some of the details, yeah, I don't know about the out-of-town attorney and how that may or may not have, impacted it. I do know that we do have folks that come in that are 90% disabled. I mean, and Social Security's definition of disability is just very, very strict, and it's that 100% disabled. I don't know if that's what's causing you to trip you up. I mean, I do think he's doing the right thing about just keeping on pursuing it and making sure that you're telling, disclosing all the details and the new doctors that you're seeing and the new treatments and the new surgeries that you've had. And because maybe a year and a half ago you might have been considered 85% disabled, but maybe now it is 100% disabled. And so yeah, just kind of keep it up, and then like I said, the attorney may be something that you want to look at, or look at a local attorney, something along those lines.
Some people, of course, apply for disability and get it without having to appeal. Who is it that makes that call, looking at the report and saying, and after meeting and talking to the individual, yes, approved? Who is it that makes that stamp approved disability?
Well, at the hearings level, it's the administrative law judge.
Okay, the judge will make that decision. Is that the first, and that's the first person you go by, or no?
Well, that's
like
if I applied. Level.
Okay, what's that? But if you don't get to the hearing level, if you just flat out apply straight up and you meet the criteria, who makes that call?
Right. So,
a caseworker?
So we send over to the disability office, the Disability Determination Service, and they have examiners there that apply the Social Security law. They gather all your medical evidence, determine if you need to go to a consultative examination, and then apply the Social Security law to your situation to see if we can approve you. So they're trained examiners that do this, both at the initial level and the reconsideration level.
Okay, yeah, I guess really the bottom line for James then is, and his condition may be getting worse, you just don't give up. James, I know it's frustrating, and you're like, well, how am I supposed to live while I keep going through this process? I understand what you're saying, but in many occasions we've seen folks denied, and then it finally comes. Really, if you think about it, he probably doesn't have any choice. He can't give up. Stick with it, but maybe consider getting a local attorney, and maybe that person will see something that you didn't see, but just stick with it, right?
Right.
I mean, stick with it, and it does sound like he's in a lot of pain with that back injury. We'll take a break on that note. When we come back, more of your calls. Jackie, Clyde, and others, stay where you are, and if you want to jump in, we've got a couple lines left. We're going up until 9 o'clock. We'll be back with more right after this.